For Morning Brew, I'm Dan Toomey. Go ahead and hit that like button because we're dropping new videos each week. Now, let's get down to a question that everyone is asking. Why are we running out of microchips? Have you been checking the PS5 restock date for months and still can't get your hands on it? Blame the global microchip shortage. Have you been to a car dealership to look for some new wheels just to find it empty? Blame the microchip shortage. Is your sleek new iPhone 13 taking way too long to get to your house? Blame the microchip shortage. You've probably heard about the shortage for months, but what does it mean? Microchips, often called semiconductors, are the brains of our electronics. From automobiles to smartphones to home appliances, the world is dependent on these tiny silicon wafers. So why are we running out of microchips? Well, why are we running out of anything? Think of literally everything you or anyone else has run out of this year. Toilet paper, Kleenex, reasons to take calls from your uncle who uses Facebook a lot. All of it has to do with COVID-19, the catalyst of everything in 2021. After the pandemic struck last year, auto manufacturers abruptly shut down factories and cut back orders on microchips. At the same time, demand for computers and other electronics soared, so people could work remotely, attend Zoom U, and pretend they weren't drinking that much during virtual happy hours. So chip makers reallocated production away from cars to at-home electronics. But now, as the economy recovers, demand for new cars is bouncing back faster than expected, and the supply chain wasn't ready for that. The problem was compounded by that container ship that stole our hearts and also blocked the Suez Canal for nearly a week in March 2021, choking off microchips that were headed from Asia to Europe. Now, it takes companies that need chips over 20 weeks to get their orders filled. As a result, the console manufacturers, like Toshiba, who makes PS5s, have to delay production, and the impact may persist through this entire year. Among the industries hit by the chip shortage, the auto industry is one of the worst. Ford's August 2021 sales of its new vehicles declined by 33% from a year earlier in the US because of supply constraints. Toyota is cutting its production by 40% for September, all because of this microchip. Without that little chip, car manufacturers are essentially making jigsaw puzzles with a missing piece, which we can all agree is a worse feeling than, say, jumping off a cliff. So, in August, vehicle sales in the US fell nearly 14%, mainly because of these supply shortages. With the supply crunch in new cars, buyers turned to used cars. The price of used car sales shot up 40% in June from last year, according to data from JP Morgan, which means that a 5-year-old car could cost you $24,000, which is $6,000 more than it would have cost you last year. So the problem is, car manufacturers made the wrong call and miscalculated the chips that they would need. Is it just a matter of time and eventually demand will stop outpacing the limited supply? Is it transitory? Is this transitory? Not exactly. Time could be a short-term fix, but it turns out the microchip shortage is a problem that has deeper systemic issues within the semiconductor supply chain. Here's a guy you gotta know. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing, or TSMC, is the world's largest and most dominant contract chip maker. Its technology is so advanced that it makes around 92% of the world's most sophisticated chips used in smartphones and other electronics. Which, great for them, but how did we let that happen? If most of the world is using smartphones that require microchips, why were we okay with letting one company make most of them? This isn't a class project. The kid who wants to go to Stanford can't do all the work. And even for the less sophisticated microchips that are used in cars, TSMC accounts for 60% of the world's chip manufacturing. Its dominance leaves the global supply chain in a pretty vulnerable position. TSMC said it has taken unprecedented actions and increased microcontroller production by 60% compared with 2020, but still, they can't meet this soaring demand. Yeah, TSMC is definitely that coworker that says yes to everything.
Hey, TSMC, can I get those microchips by the end of the day?
Sure thing.
Oh, and could you cover for Terry tomorrow?
Yeah, you got it.
And take my lunch order.
Mm-hmm.
You good?
Yes.
To push down some of this demand, it was reported in late August that TSMC would raise prices by as much as 20% by the end of this year or next year. And one of TSMC's biggest customers is Apple. At Apple's Q2 earnings conference, CEO Tim Cook warned about supply constraints that would affect microchips, which go into iPhone and iPads. Considering that, it's surprising there wasn't a price increase for the newly announced iPhone 13 given the chip crunch going on. So yeah, this is a big deal. Back in April, there was an actual White House summit just about the chip shortage. Senior executives from companies like Ford, Intel, and Alphabet, they were all there. It was like a Harvard Business School reunion, only a Democrat was hosting this time. Preventing future shortages will require bigger changes, like finding or creating new sources for semiconductors to strengthen the supply chain. In his infrastructure plan, President Biden put $52 billion towards boosting the domestic chip industry in order to bring the supply chain closer to home and make our own American supply of microchips. But these ambitious plans will take years and billions of dollars worth of investment to carry out. So when will the semiconductor crunch end? The chip situation was supposed to get better in the latter half of 2021, but yeah. COVID-19 outbreaks in Southeast Asia, where again, apparently all the semiconductors come from, disrupted the plan once again. Chip makers and experts said the semiconductor industry is in uncharted territory right now, and the shortage could last until 2023. So hang in there, Brew fans. It might be a while before you can get your hands on a PS5 or buy that dream car, but somehow, someway, things bounce back. Your dusty PS4 will hold out until then. Hey, thanks so much for watching this episode of Brew Breakdown. If you like this video, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to Morning Brew, and also hit the little bell beneath this video so you're notified every time we drop a new video. Thanks again for watching. I don't know what that was, but hey, we did it. There's more.